What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Sideline, podcast where we talk about the latest sports stories and give our opinions as fans watching our teams play from beyond the sideline. We'll be covering the NFL, NBA, MLB, and occasionally the NHL, MMA/UFC, and boxing, as well as both college football and basketball. If you would like to be updated on when a new episode will be uploaded, you can follow my Twitter or Twitch at SepticKid24, SEPTICKIDD 24, where you can also join my Discord server through either Twitter or Twitch. And before we get into this week's topics, I would like to apologize for missing a new episode last week. I know I shouldn't be sorry about that. Um, I mentioned, a few times before that episodes weren't always going to be on a weekly basis. But I just kind of felt bad not letting you all know in episode 3. But we're here now. Um, I was just, very busy and just dead tired. I didn't have the energy to record a new episode, and if I did, it was going to be very low quality and probably only like 20 minutes long. So I just decided to skip last week's episode and decided to just record a longer episode for this week. So we're going to start this episode with a little bit of talk from week 4 in the NFL. It's just going to be mainly about the Chiefs and the Jets game. Um, but very, very little. I'm just gonna mention it, but then we're gonna get right into like week 5 and week 6 Thursday night football, which just ended. The Chiefs beat the Broncos, so we'll talk a little bit about that in the beginning, and then we'll just go through week 5. Um, then we'll do our weekly predictions for the NFL, and then we'll transition into a little bit of talk about the MLB playoffs and NBA preseason talk. So, with that being said, let's get into our first topic. So, things aren't looking good for the Chiefs, in my opinion. Now, I get that they're the reigning Super Bowl champs, and they have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey. The defense is solid, but you can't help but think they are they're not that good as they were last year. I mean, you can just look at their games this season. Lost by 1 to the Lions. Uh, beat the Jaguars by 8. They beat the Bears 41-10. They barely beat the Jets 23-20. They barely beat the Vikings by 7. And then the Broncos had a chance to send it into overtime. Like, there was only one game where they looked really solid, and that was against the Bears. The other, what, one, two, three, four, five? The other 5? The, I don't know. If you're the Chiefs, I get a win is a win. But there's a difference between a great, win and a bad one. And for me, at least, the Chiefs have had out of their 5 wins now, only one good win and 4 very shaky wins. Not good wins. I mean, like I said, we can look at the week 4 stats against the Jets. Mahomes, 18 for 30, 203 yards and a touchdown, but 2 interceptions. Zach Wilson outplayed him, 28 for 39, 245 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, how are you gonna no disrespect to Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson has been doing uh pretty good, but as Patrick Mahomes, how are you gonna let Zach Wilson, a guy who was not even really going to see the field and, just be the guy to kneel the game out for Aaron Rodgers, outplay you. And I mean, let's look at the stats today. Um, let's look at the team stats. Uh, they had a lot of penalties. Okay, 7 penalties for 84 yards. Yeah, that's. If I'm the Chiefs, you gotta cut that down. Like, like I said, I don't think the Chiefs are that good. I don't think the Chiefs have it in them to win a Super Bowl. I just don't. I think the Dolphins are a more complete team. I really think they are. And they're to me they're the second best team in the league. If I had to give a top 5 right now, it would be the 49ers, the Dolphins, the Eagles. I think the Eagles are better than the Chiefs, so the Chiefs number 4, and I think it's still safe to say that the Cowboys are number 5, but honestly, I wouldn't be mad about putting the Lions there. I think the Lions are the sixth or seventh best team in the league right now. Um, they've been solid. I mean, they beat the Chiefs. I get, week one, they didn't have Travis Kelsey. It doesn't matter if your guys are injured or not. You still go out there to win. Okay, you should not need to rely on Travis Kelsey. You have Patrick Mahomes. That should be all you need. You can put Patrick Mahomes on the Bears, and they would make a playoff push. Like, it's just an excuse. An age old excuse that people want to use, but, you know, we're just going to leave that behind us and let's move on to the week 5 talk. So, like I said, the Lions, they're here. They're here. Um, I think they could easily be a top 5 team. I mean, we can look at their stats right now. They beat the Panthers 42-24. They beat Green Bay 34-20. Like, I mean, what more do you want? They beat the Falcons 20-6. Their only loss was against the Seahawks in overtime, which they could have easily won. I mean, the Lions could be undefeated right now. They're a solid team. Jared Goff is, playing at a probably no, without a doubt, Jared Goff is playing his best. He's putting up the. How do I word this? Jared Goff is putting up the best numbers he's had since the trade to the Lions. He's arguably having one of the best seasons of his career. No, he is having one of the best seasons of his career. I mean, look at his stats against the Panthers. 20 for 28, 236 yards, 3 touchdowns. Let's go to the Packers game. 19 of 28, 210, 1 TD, 1 interception. Like, he's doing awesome. The Lions are balling out. I mean, there's not much to say about them. They have a solid defense. They have a solid offense. Solid defense, solid offense, great coaching staff. Oh my God, Dan Campbell should win Coach of the Year. He should. Ever since he got hired as the coach for the Lions, he just gave off that Detroit energy. He is what the Lions needed. He's their savior. Now, do I think the Lions are going to go to a Super Bowl? No. No. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs? Yes. Hell yeah, I think they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, in my predictions I made, I believe this was episode two. Um, I had them being the sixth seed, the only team to come out of the NFC North. I mean, yeah, and they would be going up against the Cowboys. But now, honestly, I think. I mean, I'm not gonna change my we might. When it comes to mid-season in a couple weeks after the trade deadline, we might make some changes on the playoff predictions. We might make a revamped one. So far my AFC playoff predictions are holding pretty good. Um, but I don't know. Just something about the NFC this year that's kind of crazy to me. Because okay, this is gonna kind of bounce into the next topic, but the Cowboys are not good. It's just straight up. Cowboys are not good. It's sad to see a franchise that talks so much and their fans talk so much, yet you can't win a game. I mean, you can't win the easy ones. They lost to the Cardinals by what? Um, here, let's see. I need a bit of a refresher. They lost to the Cardinals 28-16. Like you can't lose that game. And then they go to the Bay last Sunday and they lose by 32. How, as the Cowboys, you're only going to put up 10 points? Now, like I said, the Niners are the best team in the league. They're the best statistically. They're the best offense. They're the best defense. After that Cowboys game. But 10 points? Like, Dak has to do better. Like, if you want to make a good playoff push and go to the Super Bowl, you can't be throwing 153 yards with three interceptions and only one touchdown, which came in the second quarter. Brock Purdy is proving himself to be one of the best quarterbacks in this league. He's probably a top five. He's better than Dak right now. He's better than Dak. He's playing. He's excuse me. He's might be better than Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. I mean, and Tony Pollard. I mean, you know, it's Ezekiel Elliott's replacement. Well, I wouldn't say replacement because Tony Pollard was getting a lot of time. Even when Zeke was there, but I mean, 8 carries, 29 yards. C.D. Lamb, the guy who every Cowboys fan praises, 4 receptions, 49 yards. And then you trade for Trey Lance because Trey Lance doesn't want to be a third string. Yeah, he's a third string. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Dak is it's just simple. Dak is underperforming, and either he steps it up, or I think they just need to move on. I don't know. I think Jerry Jones is just stuck. He's stuck in the past. Dak is a shell of his former self. Like he can't perform under the lights, under the pressure. He can't get it done. I would rather have Brock Purdy. Obviously, I would rather have Patrick Mahomes. I would rather have Tua. I'd rather have Josh Allen. I'd rather have did I mention Pat? Yeah, I would rather have Jalen Hurts. You know? Hell, I'd rather have Lamar Jackson at this point. I mean, I'm a bit teetering on that one, but all the other ones I would rather have. I think Dak is a great regular season quarterback, but once it's time for the playoffs, he folds. I mean, he couldn't win his last two playoff appearances. I mean, the whole team underperformed. They lost to the Niners in three straight matchups. I mean, if I'm the Cowboys, I don't know where you go from here. Because if we look at the standings right now, the excuse me, the Commanders are a game back from the Cowboys. I mean, if the Cowboys lose next week and the Commanders win, I mean they're tied. I mean, the Cowboys are only 2 games ahead of the Giants. Meanwhile, the Eagles are running away with this division. Like the NFC is so unpredictable this year. The AFC is a bit more like okay, let's look at the AFC for a second. AFC East. Dolphins are 4-1, Bills are 3-2, Jets are 2-3, Patriots are 1-4. Pretty accurate on when it comes to predictions. Like I think the Patriots could be a bit better. You would think they'd be 2-3 or 3-2, but I mean for what it's worth, the AFC East solid. AFC West, Chiefs are 5-1, Chargers are 2-2, Raiders 2-3, Broncos 1-5. Accurate. AFC North, Steelers 3-2, Ravens 3-2, Browns 2-2, Bengals 2-3. Maybe the Bengals should be 3-2 or maybe 4-1, but hey, AFC North pretty solid. AFC South, Jags are 3-2, Colts are 3-2, Texans are 2-3, Titans are 2-3. That's the toughest division in all of the NFL. The AFC South, the AFC South and the AFC North are the toughest divisions this year. They're the most competitive. They're the best divisions in football. And then we go over to the NFC. NFC East. Eagles are 5-0, Cowboys are 3-2, Commanders 2-3, Giants 1-4. Cowboys should be 4-1. I think the 49ers game was, I thought the Cowboys were going to lose, but not that bad. Cowboys should be 4-1. Hell, I mean you can argue they could be 5-0. NFC West. 49ers are 5-0, Seahawks 3-1, Rams 2-3, Cardinals 1-4. Well, like the Rams should be 4-1. The Seahawks, I mean 3-1 is good. Cardinals, I mean yeah, everything seems like other than the Rams, NFC West is standing strong. And then the NFC North, we'll get to the NFC North in a minute. The NFC South, the Bucks are at the top at 3-1, Falcons 3-2, Saints 3-2, and the Panthers haven't gotten a win yet. They're on 5. Like the NFC South is the toughest division right now in the NFC. still think I predicted that the Bucks were gonna make it out of that division and the Saints were gonna follow as a wild card. So far, it's holding up, but hey, it can go either way. I didn't think the Falcons were gonna be this good, but they proved me wrong. NFC North is single-handedly the worst division in football as of right now. It just is. It just is. The Lions are 4-1. Packers are 2-3. They are struggling. Vikings are 1-4. Bears are 1-4. I knew from the start, what before the preseason even started, that last year was a fluke. Last year was a fluke for the Vikings. They're not gonna win. What was it? They won 11 straight before they lost. 12 straight, 13. It was just a fluke. It was a fluke season. Most of their wins were what, one possession that could have went either way. And I mean, they're 1-4 right now, as you can see. That just proves my point and proves a lot of other people's points. And the Bears are the Bears. Packers, obviously, you got Jordan Love and a lot of their key pieces left, like um, Alan Lazard, right? He's the one that left to the Jets. Yeah, I believe so. Wait, who? Kind of confused. Who does Alan Lazard play for right now? He plays for the Jets. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Alan Lazard left. Other key pieces. Um, and overall, the 49ers are the best team in football. They just are. I mean, they've in the NFC, at least in the NFC, they have scored the most points. They have given up the least amount of points. They have the best home record, 3-0. But I mean, you could say, well, they're tied, but the home record, away record, just they're all around just a great team. The Dolphins, second best. Eagles, number three. Chiefs. I mean, honestly, as of right now, I think the Lions are better than the Cowboys. I'm just gonna say that straight up. I'm gonna say that straight up. And I mean, you look at the Eagles too. They're struggling. It's like the Chiefs. They're the Chiefs of the NFC, beating the Patriots by 5 and almost choking. They almost blew a lead. You beat a struggling Vikings team. I get it's week 2, but still by 6. Okay, you beat the Bucks 25-11. That's, solid. You you go into overtime against the Commanders and need a game-winning field goal. That's the one that bothers me. And then the Rams 23-14. 23-14, you win by 9 against the Rams. I think you should be scoring more. But hey, it's the Rams. They played good, but the Commanders. You serious right now? One of the worst teams in your division. One of the worst teams in the league right now. Do I think they're a bit underrated? Yes, but they're still, like, you can't deny they're one of the worst teams in the league. It's just, I don't know. It's just with the NFL, it's really hard to like make good predictions and just like try to predict how teams are going to do. because it's just there's so many factors and variables um that goes on. Obviously injuries, but these it's just external, internal factors, like just with the players. Like I don't know if they're in their own heads or what, but I don't know. It's just like you watch, like if you watch the Chiefs or the Eagles for that matter this year compared to last year, they just don't look the same. They don't feel the same. I don't know, like it's really hard to explain, but like trust me on this, if you go watch like the Super Bowl last this past season compared to like their most recent games, the Eagles and the Chiefs, they're two totally different teams. Like I don't think the Eagles or the Chiefs are going to make it back to the Super Bowl this year. I think that the Eagles can make it to the championship game, and so can the Chiefs. But I think for the Eagles, the Niners are going to get the best of them, and for the Chiefs, the Dolphins are going to get the best of them. I think that's just what it is. I don't think Patrick Mahomes has enough weapons. I don't think the Eagles are. I think the Eagles are in their own heads. 49ers and Dolphins are just more complete teams. And that's that. All right, so it's funny because I write down. So when it comes to the podcast, I write down what I want to talk about for this week's episode, or the that week's episode. But it's only like talking points. Like um, right here, I have Niners are the ones to beat in the NFC. Eagles are struggling against the teams they should dominate. All their games have been a bit slow to get going or they die out. And I kind of expand from there. Those are just talking points. But obviously, I add on to it. But like this whole NFL portion has pretty much been improv. So I see that as an absolute win. Shout out to the Avengers. But um, yeah, I just thought I'd point that out. I find that interesting, fascinating even. But you know, even though I didn't record a new episode last week, I still made my picks for the weeks, and I'll read out the results for week 4 since I didn't last week. Um, week 5, and I'll give my predictions for week 6. So week 4, we went 14-2. We got the Lions, Jags, Rams, Ravens, Vikings, Bucks, Bills, Broncos, Eagles, Chargers, 49ers, Cowboys, Chiefs, Seahawks. The only ones we got wrong were the Bengals and the Steelers. All right, week 5, we went 9-5, our worst week to date. Um, Only ones we got right were the Saints, Colts, Lions, Dolphins, Bengals, Eagles, Jets, Chiefs, 49ers. Um, oh, I know, I got the Lions right. I forgot to mark the Lions. Lions. So we went 10-4. There. Yeah. Okay, so the ones I got wrong: Commanders, Bills, Ravens. Yeah, Commanders, Bills, and Ravens. All right, so for week 6, we're now 36-10 on the year. Since week 3, I might add on my predictions for week 1 and 2 of the NFL. Because I still had predictions in my head, but obviously I didn't start the podcast then. But I'll still put them on there for the teams that I thought were gonna win. Um, but as of right now, since week 3, we are currently sitting at 36-10 for our weekly prediction. So I say we're going pretty good. If we do the math on that, see, 36 divided by 46, 78.3% pick rate on the wins. So honestly, I don't want to be like egotistical, but I think if you guys, I'm not saying to use my picks for bets, um, but if you guys want to, do a little bet with your friend, hey, I got $5 on this game, or something like that, I would say it's you're pretty good or well off if you want to hear me out on my predictions. Um, so this week I got the Chiefs, obviously, and they won. The Ravens in London. Then I got the Dolphins, the Saints, the Commanders, the Jags, the Bengals, the Vikings, the Niners, Patriots, Lions, Rams, Eagles, the Bills on Sunday night, and the Chargers on Monday night. All right, so I also now want to talk about my playoff predictions. So I want to revisit this. I'm not going to change it now, but like I said, maybe after the trade deadline in a few weeks, we will. Like we'll have the original and then the revamp. Um, but for the AFC, I had the Chiefs. So I know I've been trashing the Chiefs, and I'm saying the Dolphins are better, but it's still the Chiefs, and I think they are going to be the number one seed in the AFC. So I got them at number one. Dolphins are going to be two. Bills at three. Bengals at four. Ravens at five. I think the Bengals are going to pick it up, but I mean, when we do the revamp, I might switch those two around. So Bengals 4, Ravens 5, Chargers 6, and Jags 7. And the Jags are the only ones coming out of the AFC South. For the NFC, as of right now, Eagles are number one. So I know I said the 49ers are the best team in football, but I just think with point differentials and all that, I think the Eagles are going to be the number one seed, but I think that might change in my revamp. We'll see. 49ers and Eagles might be swapped. 49ers, so Eagles at 1, 49ers at 2, Cowboys at 3, which is definitely going to change. Rams at 4, which I'm okay with. Bucks at 5, Lions at 6, Saints at 7, with the Lions being the only team coming out of the NFC North. I think the Lions are good enough to be a 5 seed, maybe even a 4. Um, Now maybe even a 3. And then Cowboys 6, so the Lions get home field advantage in the wild card. I mean, I can see that. But, like I said, we'll revisit that. All right. So that'll be it for the NFL portion of the podcast. Um, Man, almost 35 minutes now that we've been doing this. Usually by now I'm kind of getting towards the end, but hey, like I said, this is going to be a bit longer of an episode. Probably going to push an hour. Honestly, it might still be around 50 minutes. But we'll see. So, um, we're gonna now start talking about the MLB playoffs. Um, and my topics have been, you know, going back and forth because I wrote down all these topics like earlier in the week, but uh, excuse me. Obviously, a lot has not changed, and the divisional series are now over with and done, and we're moving on to the championship games, which start on Sunday, October 15th. Rangers will be playing the Astros in the ALCS, and the Diamondbacks will be playing the Phillies in the NLCS. Also, congratulations to those who won in their divisional series, respectively. The Rangers, Astros, Diamondbacks, and Phillies. Congratulations to them and all their fans. So, I don't have as much knowledge on baseball as I do with football and basketball, but I'll do the best as I can. This is really opinionated. Like with the NFL and basketball, I look a lot at the stats, and with basketball, it's like a lot of my knowledge I've gained over the years from watching basketball. But baseball, I really barely started watching like somewhat consistently in like 20 2019, 2021. I am an Angels fan. Kind of started watching a bit of the Angels games in like 2017, 2018. They're the only people that I can watch on TV on like regional networks. They don't show Dodgers. It's more so the Angels. Um, Valley Sports West. That's who they show. So that's kind of how I became a fan. And you know, obviously I love Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani. Um, that that's how I became a fan of the Angels, just watching them on TV. But yeah, let's get into it. So let's just, because I feel like I'm only going to be talking about one team here for the majority of this. So let's just get the smaller bit out of the way. So the Braves were my pick to win it all. And I believe I said that last episode, which was a couple of weeks ago. For those who have not watched that episode or the other previous episodes, um, I recommend you listen to those. I keep saying watch, but it's listen. As of right now, it's only audio. Um, but I recommend you listen to those episodes after you finish this one. Um, but I had the Braves winning it all. But I had a feeling that the Phillies could get it done because they did last year, and they proved me right. Phillies got it done. So I think Phillies Diamondbacks. That's going to be a really great series. I think the Phillies can pull it out. I think the Phillies are my new favorite. I think they fared well against the Astros last year. If they get the Astros again, I think the Astros will pull it out. But if they get the Rangers, hey, I think they can get it done against the Rangers. Uh, but yeah. So speaking of the Diamondbacks, they swept the Dodgers, which I look. I try to not be biased and disrespectful towards other franchises and their fan bases. Which, although I've been doing that with the Cowboys in the NFL sections of the podcast, but I mean, come on. What is it with the Dodgers in October? Like I've been saying this for the past few couple weeks. The Dodgers as a franchise is like Avengers Infinity War. For those who have seen it, you will get my reference. The Dodgers are like the Avengers. They have assembled this star-studded team. Clayton Kershaw, um, Will Smith, Max Muncy, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. They brought back Kike Hernandez. The list goes on. And they used to have Cody Bellinger, Kenley Jansen, um, Julio Urias, and did I mention Cody Bellinger? I'm like blanking out on who I mentioned. Justin Turner, and all these guys. Yep, when it comes to October, the month of October in the playoffs, it's like they're Thanos. So the Dodgers are the Avengers, and the playoffs slash the month of October is Thanos. They can't win. Losing is inevitable. For those who get that reference, for those who don't, I'll explain it really quick. Um, this movie came out in like what, 2018. So I think, if you haven't seen it by now, um, you could skip ahead like a minute or two. Um, but for those who don't care, Thanos is the main villain in the Avengers movies, Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, and he kind of made little appearances in other Marvel movies before that and Avengers movies. But in Infinity War, it's like all the Avengers come together and all these Marvel heroes come together to try to fight Thanos and his army. Well, he gets all of the Infinity Stones, and he snaps his fingers, and half of the population disappears. They dissipate into thin air, and the Avengers lost. Losing was inevitable in that movie, at least. So yeah, the Dodgers are the Avengers, and the playoffs are Thanos. I don't know. I mean, and then you got okay. So the Dodgers win in 2020. Um, the World Series one. I don't know. Do you count that or not? I don't personally. I mean, okay. Everyone had fair game, but come on. If we look, let's just say they voided the 2020 season. Let's say that season did count, but that season counted, obviously. But let's say it was void. Let's say they canceled that season entirely. The Dodgers, even then, if we look back at their let's look at their playoff history. Dodgers playoffs history. All right. So, 2018. So the last time they went back to back in the World Series was, oh no, sorry. They went to the World Series in 2017 against the Astros, but we all know how that went. And then in 2018 they won the World Series against the Red Sox. 2019 they lost in the divisional. 2020 they won the World Series. 2021 lost in the championship series, the NLCS. Last year lost in the NLDS. This year lost in the NLDS. Like I said, 2017 lost in the World Series. 2016 NLCS. 2015 NLDS. 2014 NLDS. 2013 NLCS. Like it's just they can't win. Between 2018 till before 2018, their last World Series appearance was 1988, and they beat the Oakland A's. All that time, they either lost in the NLDS or the NLCS. And then obviously 2017, they made the World Series but lost. Like they just can't win. I've never known for a team to be so dominant in the regular season and fold in the playoffs. It's usually the other way around. Usually they do like decent to below average and they step it up because now they don't have anything to lose. They you know like I said, they don't have anything to lose, so they step it up. Everyone else has something to lose for, but with the Dodgers, they fold. They do so good in the regular season, and it's just like the playoffs don't matter to them. I mean, what? I mean, what? Where do the Dodgers go from here? Is Dave Roberts out? Is Kershaw might be retiring? Mookie Betts took accountability. Do you rebuild? I mean, I don't know. We'll see this off season what happens. So sorry if that baseball portion of the podcast was a little underwhelming, but like I said before, baseball isn't my strong suit, but let's transition into what I think my strong suit is basketball. Now, even though I say it's my strong suit, um, I I kind of run through this a bit quickly, but it's only one topic. Who's gonna win it all? Now, my favorites to make it out of the West: Lakers, Nuggets, Suns, and Warriors. I think those are going to be the ones who are going to compete. The Lakers are stacked. They formed a great roster after getting swept in the Western Conference Finals to the Nuggets last season. Nuggets are looking to repeat. They're hungry. Didn't really make a lot of changes. Suns traded away DeAndre Ayton, but they're still staying strong. I mean, you got Bradley Beal. They traded for Yusuf Nurkic. You got KD, Chris Paul. Um, they're solid. They're great. Devin Booker. Oh no, sorry, they don't have Chris Paul. They got rid of him. Chris Paul is on the Warriors. I don't think. I look. He. I hated that trade. I really did. Um, I don't think it's great for their team. He doesn't fit anywhere. You're gonna let him sit on the bench, or are you gonna start him? If you let him sit on the bench, that's wasted potential. I just don't think Chris Paul can fit on that team. You have Curry, you have Clay, Draymond, Andrew Wiggins, and then Kevon Looney. There's your five. Why do you need to throw Chris Paul in there? He doesn't fit. What are you gonna let Draymond be the sixth man? Then it's CP3, Curry at the two, Clay small ball three, Andrew Wiggins small ball four, and then Kevon Looney. Like that's not a good lineup, in my personal opinion. For the East, I got the Bucks, the Celtics, the Heat, and the Sixers. Damian Lillard is going to make a big impact early on the Bucks. They're going to be the number one seed easily, in my opinion. They're going to be the ones to beat. The Celtics, they got Drew Holiday and patron Pritchard. I believe that's his last name. Got a 4-year extension I saw a few days ago, so good for him. The Heat are still solid. They lost Gabe Vincent, but I don't think they'd be affected too much. They're still solid, like I said. Miami is a all around great team. And the Sixers, they got some internal problems going on. Joel might want out. James Harden wants out, but they're going to stick together for at least this season. Maybe they get traded at the deadline, James Harden, maybe Joel. I know that sounds outrageous, Joel Embiid getting traded, but hey, it is what it is. Um, but yeah, um, that uh, with that being said, that is going to be our last topic for this episode. I know I said this was probably going to be a bit longer, but hey, we got around the 50-minute mark, which is kind of where I wanted it to be, and I thought there was going to be a lot more to talk about, but like I said, MLB really isn't my strong suit, and can't really talk much about the NBA right now. I can only give kind of predictions, but once the NBA season starts in a couple weeks and it gets going, I will definitely be talking about that a lot more. We got the Logan Paul fight coming up soon, so we will be talking about that. I believe that is this weekend. Logan Paul fight. Um, Saturday, October 15th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. KSI versus Tommy Fury, Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis. I will most likely be covering that. I'll try my best to watch it. If I can't, I'll try to watch highlights. Um, but yeah, I hope you all enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you enjoyed, the back to form 50-ish minute episode. Then last week it was around 40. If you want me to continue doing these bi-weekly recordings of new episodes, or you just have any feedback in general, questions, just topics you think I should cover, feel free to leave it all in the Q&A section if you're listening on Spotify, or the comments if you're listening on YouTube. Um, I might transition into this bi-weekly thing, but I will try my best to do it. Keep it weekly for as long as possible, but don't be surprised if I miss an episode and then record it a week later. Thank you to everyone for listening to the fourth episode of Beyond the Sideline. Can't believe we're already heading into episode 5. Hope you all have a great rest of your weekend. Stay safe. I hope to see you all back for episode number 5.